Hi guys, Saturday the 27th of May, and we've had a break in the weather. Last night we had lots of rain and thunderstorms, and it's really cooled down, but the trade-off is now it's very, very blustery, so I do apologise if this is very windy. What we're doing today is officially this weekend it's called Operation Plant All the Things, because next week my dad's going in for a big operation and I probably won't be here at all next weekend, and I want to get some things started off and on their way. So I've got sweet corn, incredible. These are crown prints. I'll be planting a couple of those underneath the sweet corn and then more across the back. And then this area here will be for dwarf beans, but they're not quite ready to put out yet. I've got 2 outdoor cucumbers down there, one there and one on that side. And these are my French climbing beans Cobra, so they're going to go out. So I've got to start doing this because I think the sweet corn's going to take me a good while. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start, and then when I get along the way I'll show you how I'm doing it. Okay? Alright, see you soon. Hi guys. Right, what I've done so far is I have planted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows, so 6 by 7 of sweet corn incredible. Now I'm just going to take it down here. Hang on. Right, get my tools. Okay, so what we're doing here is use a plank across your beds, because you've taken all this time to dig or rotivate your beds and make them lovely and soft for planting. The last thing you want to do is compress them. Okay, so don't stand directly onto your beds. What you'll be able to see here is this is your sweet corn plant, and they have got very long roots on, so they've got good root structure. Now these are much smaller than I would like to be planting them. But as I said, I'm not going to be here for any substantial amount of time to do any big planting sessions for a couple of weeks, and by then they'll be too big for their pots. So I'm risking it. I'm quite nervous about it, but I do have some about 25 sweet corn early bird at home, which I'm going to save, and they're not as far on, and I'm going to plant them in a new bed over on the new half plot. Okay, so what we do is in each row I am planting them roughly 8 inches apart. Now sweet corn, when you plant them, they are self-pollinating, so you can't plant them in a row, and you need at least say 9, ideally 12, and then upwards, and you need to plant them in a block. You fixed your tomato plant, well done. And you need to plant them in a block, because as the wind blows the tassels come out and they have their pollen on them. The pollen will go between all the plants, and then you'll get your lovely swollen cobs. Now if you don't plant them close enough together, they'll be partially pollinated, and you'll know they haven't done the job properly because you won't have the yellow swollen kernels, you'll just have like a milky white cob instead. So what we do is scooch down that way, Missy. Scooch. Okay, now can you hold the camera? In fact, can you hold the camera? Right. So what we're doing is measuring here. We're measuring 8 inches. So the tape measure is set to 8 inches. So we're measuring it so it's there. Okay. So the first one I'm putting in, and this soil is slightly damp because we had some rain last night, but it's not perfect, so I do need to water them in afterwards. So make sure the roots go to the bottom. Okay. Rue is using the camera and it looks like she's doing quite well. So then cover them up gradually. Bring your soil back around your sweet corn and firm it in. Okay, and then your next one, you want 8 inches from the last row and 8 inches from here. Now obviously as you get going you will be able to tell your row, but I'm just showing you how you start it off. Okay,
that's
so
how
again,
big it is.
That's how big the grid is. So then we start here.
It's called sweet corn.
I'm going to eat all the sweet corn, Rue. It's going in my belly.
No! Sharon.
So again,
Sharon is caring.
Okay, it is. Sharon is caring. So roots in the bottom again.
Just like the other one.
And then bring it around and press it down. They need to be quite firm because they will take a lot of wind rock, won't they? So I'm going to continue doing this row, and then I've got another one row to do, and then they're all done. So we'll come back and show you afterwards.
I want to do one.
Alright, the wind is it's picking up now. I think the storms from the south are slowly coming up to us in the Midlands. What I'm going to do now is plant my crown prince squashes. I've got 4. I actually have about 8 of them, but I'm only going to plant 4 because I've got 30 odd squashes and I don't need that many. What I'm doing with the crown princes, I'm actually planting them at the back of this sweet corn and beans patch. So squashes, they can ramble a lot. Now ideally I would plant these squashes in the middle of the sweet corn, and they can ramble around the bottom of the sweet corn whilst the sweet corn grow. But my concern is if I plant this in here, this could grow quite considerably fast, and it will probably shade out the sweet corn around it, because as I said, I wouldn't usually plant the sweet corn this small. So what I'm going to do for now is I am going to plant my crown prince in a row down the back, because these are the ones that are the biggest at home and ready to go out. So I'll put the crown prince in now, and then I'll probably, in a week or so's time, I'll probably put a couple of honey bear, maybe 2 or 3 closer to the front in the middle, and then over that side again, to fill in that space and make more use of it. But I don't want to do that right now. So I'm about to show you what I'm going to do with the crown prince to give them a good start. So as you can see, I've dug a hole which is way too big for this plant. But what I'm going to do is I am going to put in some straw and some manure. This is from the equestrian centre at the back of our house, and it's from their bedding, and they use straw, but it's not completely rotted down yet. It's still quite heavy. I mean, it's rotting quite well, but I'm not completely happy with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the bottom, and then I'm going to put straw on top, and then I'm going to water that, and then I'm going to put some of the dirt, backfill some of the dirt in, and then water that, and then put the pumpkin in. No, not the pumpkin, the crown prince squash, which has got a lovely blue skin and orange flesh. I can't wait for them. So that's what I'm going to do with these, and because they're very hungry plants and they need to retain moisture, and the manure and the straw will help to retain that moisture in there, so that we don't have to worry about watering them every single day. So, okay. I am hoping that you can see that. This is the hole, without it being too much. Okay, so as I said, I'm going to get some of this manure. I put a good bit in the bottom of this hole, and then what I've done, I put the manure in and I put some straw in. I dig that in a bit. Not very well, I better do it with my hands. And mix that in, and that will retain the moisture, and also it will give it a little bit of heat at the roots, because squashes like that kind of thing. So pat that down a little bit, and then I'm going to give it a water. Ooh. Then some of the dirt from around the edge I'm going to backfill in. See, now this is the ground here. If it dries out, it becomes very hard and rock solid, but because we've had a bit of rain lately, it breaks up quite nicely if you scrunch it. So I'm quite pleased. It's perfect time to be planting everything, and we've had just enough rain. Hello Mr. Beetle, I'm sorry. You okay? There he is, he's off. So that is probably perfect now. Perfect, yes. Well, maybe a little bit higher, You want them almost on a little mound because they don't like sitting in wet, but they will send their roots down to the wet, to the damp, so that they can grab that. So you don't want them sitting in it, but you want them to send down good roots down into the ground. So by putting this underneath, you're making them send their roots down and become much more stable, healthy plants. So as always, tip your plant upside down, give it a little tap. You see it's got a good healthy root system. And what I do, because if it's in a pot, a round pot, they go round and round and round, and they find it very hard to break out. So I just tease the roots. Don't pull them too much because you don't want to snap them, but you just want to free some so that they start going out and reaching out into the ground rather than going round in that circle. So plant, sorry, there's a bramble here that keeps catching me. I need to get rid of it. So put that in there. I hold the leaves up and then scrape the soil back around them. There we go. Give it a good firm press in and a water. And they like a lot of water, and with every plant, if you water them in well, then it spreads their roots out and it gives them a good start. So there you go, that is how I plant my squashes. This one is Crown Prince, so I'm going to plant 3 more of those, and then I'm going to move on to my cucumbers. You can hear me, it's very blustery. I have 4 Crown Prince in now. They look great. There's one there, that one needs a bit of water though. And also what I've done is, oh, don't fall, Jasmine. I have put some straw around these strawberry plants that are grown at the side. At the end of the season I'll relocate these, but for now I just want to keep the fruit up off the ground, because if they're on the ground, like this one was, they go manky. Birds can have that one. Right, what I'm doing now is I am planting some of my French beans, my whole beans, climbing beans, and these beans are Cobra. I've been growing them in, oh, this is heavy. How am I going to show you this? These root trainers, can you see that there? Massive root training things. I will get some of them out and show you how they grow. So I've got French beans growing in the ones at the front and then runner beans at the back, but they're not as far on yet. So French beans first. Yeah, a row of runners, like this is a slug there, that is not staying here. And they grow out the top, and as you can see they have grown really, really nicely. So you open up your root trainer, and as you can see they've got lovely long roots. Now ideally, as I said, these would be a bit bigger and their roots would be all the way down to the bottom, but even those, they're very good strong roots and the plants are very healthy. So I'm going to do my first planting of my French beans now. If they don't work, I've got more growing at home. It's not the end of the world if they get snugged. So I'll do these. Let me just get these out of the way. Okay, so beans Cobra going in now. I am planting on down the outside of this bed. I'm planting all the beans I'll be picking regularly, and then the canes on the inside, on both sides, because it's an L shape. The beans on the inside will be my drying beans, so they'll be my bellotto and my pea beans. So let's get these going. There's plenty of time to still sow your beans if you haven't done it yet. So don't worry, they are very fast growing. Now, as you can see, there is a bit of manure here. When this was rotivated, what, 2 months ago, we rotivated in some well-rotted manure and a little bit of not so well-rotted, so it gives it a bit more time to break down. Beans are very, very hungry plants. You need to feed them, and they need to be watered a lot as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant 2 plants per pole. Now it may seem excessive, but it's an insurance against if anything goes wrong, and one of them. Now because this was rotivated and it had the manure added, you can see this is lovely, lovely ground right now. The beans are going to love this. So dig it quite deep because the root trainers are very deep and you do want to make sure that you get them down as far as possible. So again, drop them in, and I'm holding it up so that the roots get covered first and then backfilling around it. And I'm going to lean them in slightly towards the pole so that they naturally, as they grow, they will naturally start to wind their way around here. You see that? Can I tilt you around a little bit more? There we go. Because they're tilted in, as they grow, they will naturally wind their way around. Okay, so that's one lot. Hey guys, right, I have planted my cobra French climbing beans, or pole beans, depends on what you call them, along here and then along that outside edge here. And as I said, my idea behind this is that the path comes here and then up there, so in terms of picking, it's easier to do those because I'll be picking those as they crop. The inside layer of this frame is going to be for my blotto and pea beans. I hope this isn't too windy, because I will be leaving those to set and then dry, so I won't be picking them as they crop. In between the pea frames and the bean frames, I planted some nasturtium because they help deter the beetles that like peas and beans, so I'm hoping that helps a little bit. Down here I have planted some more nasturtium, and these are a variegated variety, as you see. They're very, very pretty. They've got this little pink tinge around the edge of the leaves. I don't know if you can see them. They're very lovely. I think they're called African Queen, and I like these very much. I can't remember what colour the flowers are, but I'm guessing with nasturtium they're orange, yellow and red, because that's what nasturtiums tend to be. So I've done a row of those down here because these would be my runner beans. So they're on the outside here. And then I had this little bit of space here, and this is probably my most experimental crop. I got these seeds free with a magazine. These are celery, and I have no idea what I'm doing. I did watch Vivi Gregory, what Vivi did next. She did quite a comprehensive video on sowing her celery. She loves her celery. So what I have done is pressed it down. I don't know if you can see, so there's a slight dip along here so that the water sits in there because they like a lot of water. I think the spacing's right, they're about 6 inches apart, and I only had 4. I got the seed free with the magazine, like I said, and I just thought I'd pop them in, see how they go. I believe they're a self-blanching variety. I couldn't tell you the name, but it's good that they're self-blanching, which means that they don't need covering to just make them white. But that's good, because I think if they wasn't self-blanching I probably wouldn't bother. Okay, so I take my gloves off. So they're only little, they're in like 2.5 inch pots, 5 centimetre pots. So put your hand underneath around the plant, turn it upside down, give it a little pat or a squeeze, and take it out. Lovely little roots there. And I'm just popping this around, pressing it in, and then continuing that little channel from the other one so that the water sits in and around them all. So that's, I think, that's all we need to do. Now celery like watering a lot, which is okay because they're next to the beans, and the beans like watering a lot, so they won't be forgotten. So there you go, 4 celery plants, job done. On to the next thing. Right, I don't have much veg that I brought with me left to plant today. It is mostly some sunflowers, some pomea, and more nasturtiums, but some they need to come home with me as well. I'm not using them all here. Marigolds, which will go over my tomatoes over here. The runner beans aren't ready yet, so they're going to be continuing to grow. We've got 1 squash crown prince there, which I'm going to put out the sharing board before I leave. Now my onions, I don't think I've showed you these. These are coming out. Some naughty person a few years ago introduced the wonderful allium leaf miner to the West Midlands by defying DEFRA's laws on importing. And this is what you get for it. Now, allium leaf miner takes hold mostly of spring sown sets of onions or seed, and is prevalent between March and April, and it's a little bug beetle that gets in and starts on the bottom, and it will destroy your onion plants and make everything curly. Now the season for this has left. They are inactive now, hopefully, and these onions won't grow anymore. They'll stunt the growth and they don't look fantastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of these onions out, and then I'm going to plant something different in this exact spot. I'm going to leave the garlic because the garlic seems to be doing okay, but the onions are coming out. But one way that you can avoid this happening is either sowing your sets in autumn, so that by the time the larvae comes around, you've also already got big healthy onions, or you can wait until May by sowing your onions in modules and then planting out afterwards. Now luckily I still had some onions left from when I put those in, and those are Stuttgart and these are Turbo. So what I'm going to do is I will tomorrow, I'm not going to do them today now, but I will be planting these ones in, but I'm going to do them down this end. And because of the leaf miner, I'm also not going to plant as many leeks here because they also become active again in about September time. But by the time you put your autumn planted sets in November, they've become inactive again. So I think from now on I'm going to go with autumn planted sets, because we obviously have allium leaf miner and onion disease on our plot. So that's what I will be doing. But for now I will be putting my leftover onion sets in, and I will be planting some of my leeks here, but as an insurance I'm going to put some at home as well. But they're coming along really nicely now, so I can't wait to get those in. This is our prize winning marrow. Doesn't look great, does it? It will be going in today, and he's actually going to go up here, right here. And then I have 2 courgettes from my mum. I hate courgettes, she loves them. So we'll have 2 courgette plants there, and this will be for this end of the bed, and they should keep her busy for a bit. These are my Jerusalem artichokes. They look so lovely, and they will come up and they will look like little sunflowers, like perennial sunflowers. So they're very beautiful, they're going to be very tasty. And then next to them, that's where the tomatoes are going. Now I'm going to grow my Roma tomatoes up here. I also have a black zebra variety, moneymaker, golden pearl, and the Christmas grapes, kind of black cherry overlap, cross-pollinator, which we're calling Rooster's tomato. They're not all going there, but they need to go around between here and at home. These are the black kale that we planted. As you can see, they're doing lovely, and those 2 there are purple sprout and broccoli. I've got more to go in. We just shoved around the incinerator bin. Now I don't know if you can see the colour of this scarlet kale. It is quite hard to show, but it is stunning. It is so beautiful and so gorgeous, and I was inspired to grow this because at Gardeners World Live last year they had a large allotment and they had scarlet kale, and as soon as I seen it I said I need to grow that. And apparently it tastes quite like normal kale but a bit more pungent. So Al is busy doing some hoops to go over the brassicas, which are growing along nicely. These are our kiloton cabbages and they are our sprouts, and the red drumhead have really took off. I'm really impressed with those. They look really good, don't they, Al? Oh, sorry. Got to put a few dahlias in here, which I will do before I go. Oh, it squashed the monarda. Never mind. They'll be going in there. I'm going to put my Ophelias in here to start growing up this fence because it's got good flower heads on them now, and they really want to be in this. I'm thinking I need to put in, it's going to be a mixture of runner beans and French beans. Potatoes are looking nice. A few of them need earthing up. I'm sorry if this is really windy. If it is really windy, I'll probably just put some music over the top and then put the words on the screen. So these potatoes are just coming through now. These are the last ones we did. These are Valor, and I think the last row is Sarpomira, but we've only got one of those coming up there. These need earthing up, but they're looking okay. And this is our lonely pumpkin, who's looking very happy in his new bed. This side of our plot, we've weeded some of it and then covered it. The area with the fruit is an ongoing project. I need some puncture-proof gloves because there's sticky weed and bindweed growing through the gooseberry bushes, and as I found out, you don't want to be trying to pull that out. That hurts. Flower bed's looking nice. More dahlias to plant. This, which I assume is a nice hollyhock, is massive. I think it's going to look stunning. Strawberry bed, I just need to continue doing this, putting the straw around the strawberries, and the idea of that is that you keep the strawberries off the ground. And look, there's one going red. That will be our first ripe strawberry on the plot. And there is the sweet corn that we planted today, 56 of them, they're 8 inches apart, and strawberries at the back with the crown prunes. This is Rue's bed. She designed how she wanted to plant this all herself yesterday. So she's got her rather wilted pansies, strawberries, teddy bear sunflowers, nasturtiums, her tomato plant, because we didn't stake it and she dropped her bunny teddy on it. It snapped, but I've got plenty of to replace it. Some marigolds, cosmos, an aquilegia, and her dahlia poo in the middle. Going down here, and the peas on this side. I didn't have many seeds to plant this side, but they are here. And this is cucumber market more, and there's one at the front as well, and they will grow up here. They are outdoor variety cucumbers, so they should be fine here. And in the middle we have rows of little gem lettuce and mixed lettuce, but this end is closed but the other end is open, so I can reach in and get them. There's more peas, and we do have parsnips. Everything's looking a little bit dry, but they are there. So we do have a row of probably very distorted parsnips. And there is the beans and the nasturtium going all the way around that side. And then the inside ones, as I said, will be ground for picking, drying beans, sorry. So that's full circle on most of it for now. I'm going to leave it there because I've got a few more things to plant, and then I think we need to get off home. For now, red drumhead cabbage, and Montgomery sprouts, and kiloton cabbage looking grand. See you later. Bye bye.